Welcome to the podcast of the impossible. I'm Peter Wood, and today I'm chatting with fellow member of the Derren Brown Fan Club, the one and only Adam Stone.
Hi, Peter. How you doing?
Hello. I mean, we gotta, I don't know. Do we want the music to swell? Do we, I probably should just switch right over to you. No, anyway, that's fine.
No, I should be patient. I just get excited. Thank you for having me back.
I'm excited too. Yeah. So not officially card carrying member, although if there is a legit card carrying way to be a Derren Brown fanboy, I think I at least want to sign up for it. But I wanted to talk a little bit about, do you remember sort of your first Derren Brown, and I guess for our listener who may not be familiar, because actually a lot of US people are not, Derren Brown is a gentleman who is a very well-known mentalist, magician, hypnotist, mystery performer over in the UK, and does big touring shows there and has had a bunch of TV stuff. And I think is a pretty popular character among the international magic world. But for a variety of reasons, it doesn't seem like he's really made as big of a splash as sort of the rest of us would have hoped over here in the States. But do you remember sort of what your first Derren Brown experience was?
Yes, it was at your house, actually.
Oh, good. Okay.
It was
Awesome.
that I'm pretty sure of.
Okay.
Because like looking at clips and stuff on YouTube, I might not have realized it was him. But
Gotcha.
if you're going to fact check me,
Yeah.
I could be lying.
I'm
But
not.
yes, I think it was.
Okay.
And it was the show. It was a theater show, and he did the trick where he had taken pictures of the audience.
Mhm.
And had them on like Polaroids. He had taken Polaroids of the audience, had 4 or 5 members of the audience pick a different person, and then he revealed who those chosen people were.
Right. And I remember and it's so great. I mean, and talk about a card trick that people care about. It's literally people's faces, and yet every magician who was watching that will recognize it as a variation on a classic playing card routine. But I just love that he's able to sort of take that and make something more out of it. So have you ever had a chance to see him live? He did come to New York twice, so I wasn't sure if that was on your radar or not.
No, I found out about it after he was I think it was the last week he was there. I found out he was going to be there. It was too late at that point.
Gotcha. Okay.
I would love to see him live though. That would be incredible. Yeah.
Yeah. No, and definitely. I mean, I have watched most of the stuff of his that I've been able to get my hands on, but I certainly appreciate the live, the recordings of the live shows more than some of his TV specials. Not because I think that they are cheating in a Chris Angel way, but at the same time, there are some. He's helping with the edit, right? He's choosing what shots get added and what get cut, and I think that when you're watching a recording of a live show, he's sort of playing by the same rules that you or I would be playing by if we're doing a live show for a room full of people, and I think that makes it even more impressive to then. And I will host a Derren Brown movie night, as you know, and so we'll sort of watch a part of a special of a recorded stage show, and then pause it, and then we all sort of talk about it. And back to, I believe it's because, at least speaking personally, it's because I want to see what inspiration I can draw. I want to see it's not just about sitting there and let's figure out how it's done for the sake of, we figured it out. But it's more, what is there that we can draw from watching this show? And I guess, have you felt like, do you have any experiences in that sort of realm where you were inspired by something that either he or someone else did?
Yes. So for the picture, that effect that he did, you said during the party, if you can take a card trick and make it not a card trick, that is like that's a really good thing to do. And I've
Mhm.
always, you said something more eloquent than that, but
That's
that's what
probably
you're
about
getting
it.
from me. My memory of it was like, yes, then it's not garbage, is what I think what you said. No, but I took that with me, and I'm constantly trying to find ways, because there's so many incredible card tricks. But I truly believe that in a show you can do one card trick, that's it, no more. And if you don't do a card trick, that's okay now. And I'm finding, I don't want to say this, but I'm finding that more and more people do not want to see card tricks. And I don't know if it's my card tricks per se, or if it's card tricks and they want to see different things. And we have a lot of card tricks as magicians. So
Yeah, do you think it's so? My experience has been that if you bring out a deck of cards, it's amazing how many people say, "Oh, I've seen this one." Just literally having a deck of cards in your hand, getting ready to do something with it, and it is, in my mind, it's as absurd as somebody who the curtain opens and there's a performer seated behind the piano, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I've heard this song." It's the one where the guy
yeah.
plays the piano. Got it.
I get so for a long time I was terrified to tell people I was a magician, because then they were going to ask me to do something. So like I
Mm,
would carry a deck of cards with me, and I was so worried, because like when we do a show, we're very much in control of like all of the elements. But if someone meets me on the side and I'm like whatever, I was very nervous. And then what I found is, typically when I tell people I'm a magician and they see I have cards, they say, "Can I show you a trick?" And I never get asked to do anything. And it's like I've worked
interesting.
so hard to be able to be ready for this, and no one. And it's yeah.
Hmm. Yeah,
And
I
I don't
how much of that? Well, I think the card trick aversion may be just because if you, people have seen more bad card tricks than any other bad magic. And so if you bring out an interesting one of a kind prop, or not even one of a kind, but if you bring out an interesting looking prop that they haven't seen before, or maybe once but it was in a professional show or something, already you are at a level higher than their uncle who learned how to do a few card tricks and has practiced on them ad nauseum, or does it every year at Thanksgiving or something. So I think it is strange though, where the tool gets blamed for that, for all the sins of the past practitioners with it.
do you think it's more that it's more prevalent as well, and there's more like anybody now can go on and learn a card trick, and there's good card tricks you can learn on YouTube. Do you think it's more that they want to see something that's kind of beyond what a, just anybody could do? They want to see something more spectacular, or
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I assume it's the same. I'm not going to immediately blame the internet for it, although I probably can, because I think we can blame pretty much every problem on the internet, and every good thing too. So it's a mixed bag. But
yes, as a father of two daughters, I definitely
yeah, oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I know. I don't think. I think it's I think it's just as the main challenge. Well, so this sort of back to like, does someone want to see a card trick? I do. I try not to, in terms of strolling, I try not to ask a question where I don't think they are equipped to properly answer it, and that feels like a maybe cocky, egotistical thing. But I've heard people say before where don't ask, "Would you like to see a trick?" because they don't know what trick you're going to be doing. The real question to ask is, "Would you like to see my trick?" And even that should not be the question that you ask, because they don't know. They don't know what your trick is. They don't know if it's good. They don't know if it's bad. And so I think that because people assume that there's maybe not, I think if you ask most people, is there more than one card trick? People will say yes. But I think they would be surprised to learn that there's more than five. uh, you know, And as magicians, we think that's absurd because we know that there are hundreds of plots within card magic and then thousands of variations on those. But I'm really intrigued. By your talk, people find out that you're a magician. You've got the tool in your hand, and then they want to show you something, which I assume is just sort of they want to have that camaraderie. But again, I assume that doesn't happen to plumbers. You know,
I would, yeah, I would. That would be.
Yeah. I've got the PVC cement is in my hand. I'm getting ready to fix your sink, and then the homeowner's like, "Yeah, actually, I do some plumbing. Let me show you what I do." But yeah.
So do you get that, or is it me? Like 9 times out of 10, I will be asked if they can show me a trick rather than can I show them something.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. It does come up in a casual. So I guess a couple of things that are weird for me. I don't. I pretty much any time I'm doing magic is because I've been invited and paid to be there. So I am, not at a point anymore where I am bringing a deck of cards to a function where I'm not hired to be doing that. Oh. So already that's a different. I think that's a different context. And then also,
like you're out on the street, you're talking to somebody. Mm-hmm. I talk to everybody. That's my problem. I talk to everybody. So you're talking to this stranger like you do, and you get into what do you do? What do they do? And because the conversation with the stranger should typically go that far, right?
What do you do? Yeah.
Like, how was dinner the other night? Oh, the kids are good. That's great. Like, when you're talking to a stranger and they find out what you do, typically the stranger will show me a trick instead of me showing.
Yeah, so no, yes. I think that's a fascinating. I mean, I think that's them wanting to. It's a bonding, finding common ground, and they are excited that they know a little bit of our world and want to share it with us. And I would be curious. I mean, I say the plumber thing jokingly. I do wonder how much that happens to musicians, where if somebody says, I'm a piano player, I play guitar in a band. If there's a guitar there, I wonder how often the person they're chatting with is like, oh, actually, I've been working on this little thing. Let me try it out. It's got to be less. I can't imagine that. I feel like that. I don't want to say it's exclusive to magic, but I feel like it's got to be, more. It happens to you more than people in other professions. I'm guessing. But it's a straight one. And also we haven't really talked much about like character or persona. And I don't know how much of that is tied in. Like one of the things that I'm lucky, I feel fortunate the persona that I've stumbled into is that unless I have an object in my hand that looks like a one-of-a-kind thing that does something impossible, I don't get a lot of people asking me to just do something impossible spur of the moment. But in both of our cases, what people are seeing on stage is a magnification and a polish of who we are normally. But do you have any sort of like superpower rules in your sort of subtext? Are there things that you can or can't do in terms of the magic that you are presenting in the fiction of it?
It's an interesting question. I don't know.
Clearly on the spot here for our friend listening, they need to know that was not a question I emailed you. So boom.
No, it was not. But it's a good question. I like it. I would say, I don't know. Cause like for the, so there's two, as a magician, there's two kinds of general worlds we would be hired for. One would be like a strolling event where we're going from group to group at like a cocktail party or whatever. And the other would be more of a formal stage show. The formal stage show, we're so in command and we've thought through every single moment from every single point of view from every, like because of that, it's it's going to be exactly what I want it to be. So there's never going to be a time where I'm outside of it. But the strolling realm, you can definitely, especially by kids, get called out to be like, oh, I like that. Can you do this? Can you make this float? Can you do this? Make me disappear. Can you? And then the kind of the demands, adults as well, the demands will start coming. Yeah, can you make my wife disappear? Type stuff will happen a lot. But like it, I feel like in that area, you definitely have to tread a thin line. I think I'm answering your question. Like you definitely have to be careful because those challenges, I mean, we are prepared for certain scenarios and we are definitely guiding everything in order to make the magic happen, but it's definitely not like it's definitely could go off the rails very easily, more in that strolling realm than in the stage
Yeah.
persona.
No, I think
That,
that's totally, yeah. I know stand-up comedian friends will, it happens to them as well, where they will be off stage and somebody finds out what they do, and people will say either, "Oh, I heard a good joke, let me tell it to you," which is your experience, right? Or, "Oh, you're a comedian, can you say something funny?" And just I can tell you a one-liner joke, but it's all about context. Like
yeah.
I need to be one, and I'd be curious how you test out material for specifically with your family. Like I have I've always had, even when my now wife and I were dating, there was a moratorium on me trying out tricks on her, because early on we realized that she wants to see it in context. She did. I do not get. I don't perform magic for one person in a living room. I perform for a group of people, either strolling around or in a living room or on a stage. But my audience is not supposed to be one person, and so she would much rather see it in context, which means I have to find other people and venues to practice and try things out. But I totally get it where it's a different, the somebody coming up to you after a show or a stranger on the street and asking to see something magical is extremely different from what you're doing on in a stage situation. I mean, have you found, how does that work with your family? Like, are you trying things out on your daughters or not really?
Uh, yes. So daughters and wife, definitely. And typically I will start off with the youngest one just because I know I know she's going to be the least critical and she's definitely going to build me up.
That's
So
good.
give me the confidence to go on to the next two. But like I will after I do a show, I try to tape my shows. I try to watch all of the shows after to kind of pick up different things, and they'll watch with me a lot of times. And my wife and oldest daughter have all three of them have really good feedback. But my oldest daughter lately, she is 13. She's had some really good, like, if you said it this way, it would then lead to this, which would be like, and it's like, wow, that's
Nice.
really smart. And like having those three to kind of help back me up is it makes a huge difference. So I
That's
definitely
great.
could not do any of this. Yeah. So especially as much as it is, because I'm doing so many shows now, like I couldn't, like, they're helping me pack and unpack the car and like it's nuts now. So
Yeah. Good. No,
that's good.
that's a good, well, and I do, there's also something different watching, doing a post-mortem with them and watching the video of it. I think is a great way to go about that, as opposed to, let me show you something I'm working on. And not that they can't see that as well, but it definitely helps for them to see it in front of an audience and have an audience reacting to it, as opposed to just,
Boy,
again, a quick thing in your living room or whatever.
Yeah, typically I'll try stuff out. Like if I'm nervous about it, and there's a lot of phases to it, or there's a lot of different steps that I have to remember, I will try it out for the three of them. Or there's some effects you just, like, in order to practice, you really need somebody to hold something or take something or do something, because you need to see like how they're going to take it or what they're going to do as they hold it. Because I don't know, because we have to pay so much attention to so many different little details that I don't think I could do it all by myself.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, and
yeah,
sort of and in some cases, I want them to be the worst case scenario when I'm trying something out. I workshop a lot of stuff at Magic Club meetings, so I'll go to, I'm a member of 2 local clubs, and when I'm able to, I'll go there. But I love trying out something new because it's a safe space where it's an unpaid audience who not only will be nice to me if it doesn't go well, but even better, they'll be able to provide feedback and suggestions. But there have been a lot of times where, like, something goes wrong and a colleague of mine will, because a colleague did not understand my instructions. I'm trying out this thing and I gave instructions and they misunderstood and they screw me up and they're apologetic. And I'm always trying to tell them, like, no, 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 no. That is exactly what I want. Like, I would much rather realize that my instruction script needs to be changed now in front of you, as opposed to when I'm out there, because I'm sure that, a volunteer in the wild, if you made that mistake, it's really likely that somebody in the wild is going to make that mistake as well. So that's
yeah.
very valuable feedback to have. But I'm glad to hear that your people aren't completely sick of it, and hopefully that can be maintained that way.
No, it's rare that I can fool them.
Mm.
I still do every once in a while, and I know it's when I do. I know it's a really good one. It's like, this is gonna be good because if I
Yeah,
can get
yeah.
them, they've learned along with me, and that's one of the reasons I liked Magic so much. Because my kids, when I started, they were 4 and 7, something
Mm.
like that. And I like the idea that I had something that I was bad at that I had to learn in front of them. Because
Interesting.
because I feel like as parents, as adults, we're always telling kids, oh, if you want to get better at it, you got to practice, you got to practice. But like the majority of the stuff we do, we've been doing our whole lives. So our practice stage is done. Like I play the piano, but I've been playing since 3rd grade. So like I have my set of songs I can play. It sounds like I'm really good, but it's just I practice. I've already done the practice. And so to have this thing that I was going to be really bad at, that they were going to get to watch me be bad at, I really liked that idea. And so, yeah. So
That's a
that's
cool
probably
takeaway. No, that's
that's probably
what
why
a
I'm
great.
stuck
Yeah.
with it. Yeah.
Well, and something that, yeah, that can apply to all sorts. Obviously, not just magic, but any, whether you're learning it with a child or whether they're just watching you, they're seeing you navigate those waters. I'm sure that they're learning stuff about watching your learning. They're learning from you learning in a way that, like you say, they didn't see you navigate those most of the waters of adulthood because that was before they were born.
Yeah.
But
And they need to
fascinating. I
see
like
us
it.
fail too, Like I feel like kids never get to see adults fail,
Mhm.
or there's adults that when they fail, they just have all these excuses. And I don't want to have that. I want them to know you're going to go in this world and you are going to just tank again and again, and that is okay.
Mhm.
Like my worst show I've done, they were at actually. And they got to be a part of this show, and it was a disaster. And it was great because we got back in the car and then they're like, they were not nice to you and da da da. And it's like, no, 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 this is on us. I did this. I made this mess because of I did not see through all these different parts. This is on me. This was my show. And they're like, no, it's like, no, this is our job. We are allowed to fail. Now we can look at this and we can go, what do we need to do next time so this doesn't happen?
That's
And
that's so cool.
and that was that was the last time I did a drive-in magic show. So,
Well, yeah, I was going to ask, was it, I assume it didn't fail because of them. It was just a happenstance that they
no,
happened to
it
be
was
there.
yeah. So it was pandemic. It was a group that had me out perform before, and they wanted to do something for an event. And they're like, it's got to be outside. And we were thinking about like a drive-in theater style. Everyone would be in their own cars. Everybody's contained. We will pump in the audio through the FM receiver. We have one of those. How would you? But we want you to do like a big stage, whatever. Do you do anything with fire? It's like, no. And I'm glad. I'm glad that's not the mistake I made. But I set myself on fire. No. So, but I do have these large illusions from doing Nutcracker. And so it's like, so let's do this. They're like, we're going to rent a truck that'll be the stage. We'll get you up higher and we'll do that. And so then the plan was for the cars to be parked in front of me to a certain line. So I'd have my angles and I would be on this truck and the illusions would be up there, except they weren't able to control because the cars were much bigger than we had intended. We couldn't control the angles as well. So I ended up in like this semicircle of cars, except I'm on this flatbed truck. So for a third of the audience, the stage is completely blocked behind this truck. So I get in, I do my first effect. The first effect went great. I go to do the second one. There's like 15 cars that are realizing we're not going to be able to see any of this. Let's get out of here. But for a car to exit a drive-in venue, they have to drive in front of the stage. So then it's like you hear this car start up, these lights come on, they're pulling out in front of me. And then like, because they can't, like I lose like 5 or 6 more because they can't see anything. And it's like, and then I'm shaken because this is happening. And it's like, it was, yeah. So it's like,
That's
was bad.
amazing.
And I had not thought it out well enough just because I wasn't there. And there wasn't like, once we were in it, there was not a way to get these cars in this parking lot in a way where they were all going to be like, because you can't line them up. It's got to be one line. And it was enough. It was, yeah. So yeah, it was a good fail. If you're going to fail, it was
great
week.
I love that story. I had not heard that before. That's amazing. I mean, and you know, anytime someone's struggling and it's not me, that's. Did anyone heckle at you with a horn? That's what I want to know. Did anyone?
No, they were very nice. They actually hired me back the next year. I don't know why, but it was an indoor thing then at that point. But no, it was very humbling. When the first car comes on and like the lights, because you hear it like that car is starting and it's like, what's going? And then they have to drive in front of everybody else, and it's like, oh yeah, this must suck. Let's get out of here. Come on, kids, buckle up.
I'm going to put you back on your tablet where you belong. That's what we're supposed to be doing during this drive-in magic show. Well, if people want to book you for their next drive-in magic show, I know that your contact info is over at adamstonemagic.com. If they want to see photos and videos of all the drive-in magic shows that you're doing around the area, they can follow you on social media. That's Adam Stone Magic on most of the platforms there that people like to do.
I will find the video. I bet I do have a video.
Oh yeah. That'd be fantastic. But I appreciate you spending time with me here today, Adam. And I think that is it for this episode of the Podcast of the Impossible. For my public shows and social media and special projects and more, you can head on over to oftheimpossible.com. I'm Peter Wood. That's Adam Stone. Thanks.